Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're broadcasting today from the UC Botanical Gardens Conference Center, which is now our amazing houseplant sale space. We're thrilled to have you here today. We're thrilled to get right into talking about Houseplant 101, preview some of the plants that we're going to have for our sale. My name is Mary Maroka. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about the sale, and then I'm going to disappear and give it off to my friend Eric Hupperts, who's going to take the stage. The sale preview starts tonight, members only, at 5 p.m. until 6:30. You get your 10% off discount if you're a member. Don't forget your box. You'll want that to bring home your precious new plants. General public sale starts on Friday, March 7th, goes until Sunday, March 9th. And that'll be from 10:30 to 4:30. I'll keep adding some of this info to the chat so you can focus on the plants. And again, we're thrilled to have you here. We hope you leave today with some new information, and we're thrilled to see you at our plant sale preview for our members and our general public. We look forward to welcoming you on Friday. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Eric Hupperts. Eric's going to talk to us today about some plant care related to houseplants and also highlight some of our amazing plants that we have for sale this year. So thank you so much and enjoy.
Thank you, Mary. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the lunchtime Zoom. We're going to talk about all the pretty incredible houseplants we have for sale starting soon. So I thought today for the talk, since everyone here is interested in houseplants, I hope, I'll go through and pick out some of these really fun ones and kind of go through that. And at the very end, for those of you that are new to houseplants, we'll do like a quick houseplant 101 care. Short and sweet. It'll be more about concepts, less specific need requirements for each plant. So, I got to say, for me, here at the garden, I take care of the Asia collection, outdoor plants, landscape plants. But the thing that really got me hooked into plants was, as a kid, I was at a science convention and someone gave me 2 houseplants, and that was my it plant. Those 2 were my it plants. And that's what got me really hooked into plants. And each one of you might have a similar story of that one spark plant that got you interested. One of mine was a pilea, and it was one that as a kid was wonderful because the story was that it shoots its seeds. It's called artillery plant. And, as a 6-year-old, that's pretty exciting. So where to start? We have so many really awesome plants. I have a few laid out here. Let's just jump right into it. We have a wonderful selection of plants produced and grown and propagated by our volunteer propagators. And we also have a few plants from the collection that will be for sale this weekend. So let's start out. I'm going to grab this guy. This is a Neoregelia bromeliad. This is a complex hybrid, but what that gives you is a really hardy plant. And we have some really wonderful bromeliads. I'll start pulling a few of them out. But if bromeliads are your thing, we have some nice hybrids and some nice species for sale. And the nice thing about this one is it'll keep making pups, new little babies. You can see right here. And the old one tends to stay alive for quite a bit longer compared to some other bromeliads. So it'll just keep getting bulkier and bulkier and bulkier. These guys like really bright indirect sun, or sometimes you can get away with some direct sun, especially indoors. And some of the other bromeliads, actually, let me go grab one. We have some Guzmania hybrids that are looking very nice. Look at that bract color, that inflorescence. That is just really nice. It's not coming across in the monitor as much, but it's a really bright magenta purple. And a nice chunky plant, kind of grassy leaves, variegated. One of my favorite ones is this one, and it's just a little small one now, but it'll do the same thing where it keeps bulking out and bulking out. This one is a Gudea, and this was one of the kind of bulletproof plants that we grew when I worked at the California Academy of Sciences in that rainforest dome. This plant did very well and does well in the home environment also. But then we have some other funky bromeliads. This is Bilbergia. and it's got that totally different shape. It's not as strappy. It's more rigid leaves, and the margins aren't as spiky, aren't as toothy. And it'll make kind of a reddish flower out of the center. And all these bromeliads, they grow as epiphytes a lot of the times up in the canopy, so they can deal with really bright light, but you want to watch it when you first bring them home and get them established. Another bromeliad care trick, if you're new to bromeliads, is making sure that there's water in the vase. This plant will hold rainwater in the wild. So here at home, you can do a similar thing by putting water directly in the plant. Let's see, I have this whole grab bag table next to me. What else? What's next? Let's do a funky one. We have one of these for sale. It's a jewel orchid, and it's in full bloom right now. Usually jewel orchids are grown for the foliage. You can kind of see a little bit of the pattern on that foliage. Really pretty, kind of velvety leaves. And this one's in full orchid bloom right now. They have these little white flowers. And these, they like high humidity. It's a Ludicea. They're fairly easy to grow for a jewel orchid. Terrestrial orchid. And one of the collection plants we have for sale is probably a fern. If you're a fern person, listen up. We have this fern that you'll not be able to find anywhere. Super unusual. It's a microgramma, and it's from Central America, Northern South America. Very epiphytic, very tropical. It likes warm, humid, probably indirect light, and on the brighter side. You could get away with a little bit of shade. But what I love about this one is you can see the sori underneath the leaves. How cool is that? And if you Google image this one, oftentimes it's growing on the underside of a big limb of a tropical tree. And that's probably a nice sheltered place for it. And the leaves generally hang in one direction. If you have a larger terrarium that this won't be outsized in, it would love a terrarium. One of the bulletproof plants that looks like a bromeliad, but it's not, is this guy. This is the Tradescantia, and it has this awesome rosette shape. It totally looks like a bromeliad. People often think it's a bromeliad, but this one is super cute. It'll make rhizomes and keep having little pups. And what I really like about this one, I have this one in a spot at home, which gets a ton of light, and it's a corner of the room that maybe I neglect sometimes and forget to water. These can go super, super dry, and they are super hardy. They can take full sun. That said, they're resilient. They can also do shade and a little bit heavier soil. Another fun one is this variegated ginger we have. Look at that. It's one of the spiral gingers, so it'll grow a little bit spirally like that. But look at that beautiful foliage. This one is super easy. Put it in a shady spot. As a house plant, it probably grows about 2-ish feet or so. And it'll continue to make new shoots from the base. So this one's a little plant. We have some bigger ones also for sale. But this is a great plant. At $15, this is a steal. This is a great price. We have one Ficus religiosa for sale, just a little guy. And this is a wonderful plant, great foliage. If you're super lucky, if you have a very hot solar kind of corner outside, it'll grow outside. But in general, houseplant. And this one has huge cultural significance. It's known as the Bodhi tree sometimes, Ficus religiosa. And it has these really distinct leaves. We have one little guy for sale. If ficus are your thing and you don't have this one yet, totally recommend. You know, oftentimes if you've traveled in South Asia, they'll plant the ficus religiosa, but one more. Let me grab that. Ficus bengalensis. So you'll see both of these trees planted kind of adjacent in an area where people tend to spend a lot of time, and the shade of these trees is really helpful. But this one is also super easy houseplant. Keep an eye on it so you don't overwater it. But this one, it can get to be a large tree, but it can be kept small for the living room too. So next up, I was thinking the medinillas. We have a ton of medinillas, some really unusual ones. Let me grab a bigger one that doesn't have the best leaves right now, but has awesome flowers. Look at that. The cool thing about medinilla is a lot of times they have these really kind of pendulous inflorescence. And it's hard to see on this one, but they're in the melastome family, so they have those really funky blooms that I find super fascinating. This one, the flowers are smaller and white. And this one is more, it's like a shrubby epiphyte. So it's going to want really sharp draining soil. Think of it almost as a big shrubby orchid. So, or epiphytic orchid. So it'll want that sharp drainage. It'll want some humidity. It'll want to not dry out too much, but it does need to use the water in the soil before you rewater it. We also have a different medinilla that is super rad and very unusual. If you look at this plant, you definitely wouldn't think medinilla when you see this in real life. It has this really long pendant growth, perfect for a hanging basket. If you have a little spot in the living room that you need a nice hanging plant, these will just keep growing, boom, 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 boom. And the neat thing about these is this is also medinilla. It's Medinilla sedifolia. And what's awesome about this plant is it makes those melastome blooms. But unlike that plant I just showed you, this one has big blooms. And if you know princess tree, princess flower, tibucina, also melastome, that same style bloom, slightly smaller, bright magenta pink. It's totally outsized compared to the leaves. And if you put this one in a nice hanging spot with some indirect bright light, this will be very, very happy. Also, good drainage on this one from Madagascar plant. Let's see what's next on my table of fun. Ooh, there's an aroid that's really good. Look at this. Wow. Woo, look at that. Those petioles, that's crazy. And I'm giving it a small squeeze and it's a little bit succulent. This is Philodendron martianum, and it is a plant from the Atlantic coastal rainforest in Brazil. And the neat thing about this plant is it's the epiphyte, typically high up in the trees, but a lot of epiphytes being up in the trees are adapted to more drought conditions. And this one, its adaptation is to have these kind of swollen petioles right here where it stores water. So it can deal with a little bit of drying out. In fact, you're going to want to let this one go on the drier side sometimes so it doesn't rot. But look at that foliage. That is great. So this is an instant plant right here. We have two this size and then one smaller little guy. But if you're a philodendron person and you don't have this one's awesome. It stays as a rosette. It won't climb. It's not a vining philodendron. Nice little rosette. Great plant. If If you're super into ferns and you want something a little weird, I have another great plant for you. This one's from the collection, full grown, and it is ready to be put in a very unique situation. You'll see what I mean. Look at this thing. That's crazy. Wow. So this is what you might call a rabbit's foot fern, and it's one of Karina's greenhouse grown plants. It's excess for us, so it's available to you. And this is definitely instant plant. If you have the space for something like this, it just needs to be set on a rock and misted often. It needs that sharp drainage, which is why sitting on a rock would be great. You could pot it up. You could divide it into probably 50 different plants. A lot of opportunity with this one. Really beautiful plant. Highly recommend. If you have the niche spot for this, take it home. Another collection plant we have, it's quite unusual. It's a genus that houseplant enthusiasts might be familiar with. It's Stephania, but this is a different species. So it's kind of scrappy looking, right? But you'd be surprised. Everybody has a niche. Every plant has a niche for someone. And this one has this beautiful green vining, and you can totally direct it to go exactly where you want. You can wrap it around whatever. You can direct it up a wall. It makes these really wonderful nasturtium-like leaves. And this one, it will go dormant, so the leaves in the winter will probably turn yellow, senesce, and fall off. And then you want to water it light when there's no leaves. And then it'll push new leaves and continue vining. And we have 3 or 4 of these, and one of them is in bloom. And this one has buds, so I can show you the buds. Little flower bud right there. It'll make little, let's see, where can I put that so you see it? Right there. It'll make kind of maroonish red flowers. But if you like weird succulent style houseplants, this is a great one. Stephania. I'm still here. Okay. Taka. If you know Taka, T-A-C-C-A. This is bat flower. And it's a good houseplant and has very like peace lily style leaves, really lush. It'll make this rosette, beautiful lush leaves like this. And I highly recommend Googling bat flower because the flowers are ridiculous. I won't give it justice describing it. But if Taka speaks to you, we have one for sale at an awesome price, $18 for a big plant. Not a ton of leaves, but big plant. A lot of potential. If you've been in the new Tropic House and seen as some of these gingers are growing in and becoming lush, one of my favorites, and it's been a favorite for years, is this one. Let me see if I can pronounce the name. Costus mortianus and the Malortianus. This is a great ginger. It doesn't get very tall, especially as a houseplant. This is kind of a good size for it. Bright indirect light. If it gets too much light, the leaves will fade and it won't be as stunning. But the leaves, it's all about the leaves for this plant. If you bring this one home, I encourage you to gently touch it. It's got wonderful velvet on both upper and lower side of the leaves. Sometimes it's called the velvet stepladder ginger because the leaves will kind of grow in a stepladder arrangement. It will flower, produces a little flower at the apex. At home, things may or may not flower. They tend to want a little bit of brighter light to induce blooming. If you have a nice, bright, indirect spot, this one will probably bloom for you. Likes humidity, but general cost is care. Another fun one is this. Anyone out there want to guess what this is? This is cardamom. So if you cook with cardamom, if you consume cardamom, it comes from this species. It is grown in cultivation outside for commercial production. It's grown as a big plant, and it blooms, and you collect the seeds by hand, the pods. And at home, it probably won't get that big, and it's likely not going to bloom, but it's got fragrant leaves if you crush them, and it's just fun to have such an economic plant. I cook all the time with cardamom, and it's fun to see like where that spice actually comes from. At home, this will get maybe like 2-ish, 3-ish feet, and it'll keep producing new stalks of leaves. Probably medium light, definitely not full sun, but great foliage, very ginger foliage. There's one part of the plant world that the geeks really love, and that are the neotropical blueberries. These guys, they're in the Ericaceae family, so same family as blueberries, also same family as rhododendrons. These guys, we have a few neotropical species. This is Macleania pentaptera. I might be butchering that, but this is a great plant. It makes kind of candy corn blooms. I have the picture from the label to show you. This is an awesome plant. I have this one growing outdoors. I'm in an area that gets hardly any frost ever. This is a great plant for both indoors and outdoors. It'll bloom seasonally, not all the time, but really resilient. And also give this one time to dry out and use the water in its pot. We have 2 species of Macleania. We also have Insignis. Okay, I've gone through most of my little grab bag ones. I have a couple more. We do have 3 the kind of elephant foot yams, the Dioscorea elephantitis. If you look right there, we have one little caudex. For this one, kind of same as that Stephania, you want to, as the leaves naturally kind of go deciduous and turn yellow and fall off, you want to hold back on the watering a little bit. Maybe not all the way, but definitely that is a time in this plant's life that it doesn't need a lot of water, and too much water can cause rot. But this is an awesome plant. And the caudex, as the plant ages over time, it will keep getting bigger and bigger. And if you've ever been at the Conservatory Flowers in San Francisco, they have a huge caudex, that big, basically takes up the whole pot. We have a few kind of unique, random philodendrons. This one is aroids. This one is Monstera subpinnata, and it'll make these really beautiful strap leaves, kind of almost palm-like leaves. And if you notice how it's being grown on this board, this is one of those aroids that likes to climb. And if you give it a place to climb up, it'll start to beef up and put out bigger leaves and more adult leaves, less juvenile leaves. And this one's just starting that stage. It's got a nice root that is attaching to this board. Some folks do like a moss pole with sphagnum. If you do that, be sure to make sure that sphagnum gets wetted down before you totally water, because sphagnum can go hydrophobic and shed the water. We have another cool Monstera, Esquelito. I don't think that's a proper Latin name, but this is a cool little plant. These are the juvenile leaves, and it'll do the same thing. You put it on a board and it'll climb up and start putting out huge leaves. If you Google image this plant, let me show you the name. The leaves are quite stunning. All right. I did want to show a Hoya. We have 3 or 4 species of Hoya. They're very well produced here by our talented volunteer propagators, and we have some really unusual species. So if Hoyas speak to you, they produce beautiful flowers, and I have a great memory of my grandmother who had a huge one of these, almost like a chandelier. When you walked into the house, in the entryway, it was above you, and it had been in the same pot for 40 years, 50 years. Produced flowers all the time. They're very fragrant. Great plant, long-lived. These in the wild are epiphytes, and I've seen them growing with almost zero soil in areas where they get a lot of rain. But what that translates to is keep an eye on their drainage. Make sure they don't have too wet of feet. Make sure that they can dry out in between. They do get kind of viney, sprawly, but you can direct that growth wherever you want. And for those aroid buffs out there, we have what we call a seed pot with a pretty unusual aroid. So this is Stereospermation matthewsii, Stenospermation matthewsii. There are probably at least 12, maybe more, little plantlets in here. So this could be divided out, potted up. Very fun plant, beautiful petioles, dark green, and it has that typical aroid bloom. This one grew for years under the greenhouse benches in our back of house area, in our propagation area. So nice little plants. Typically, the bigger plants have darker green than these seedlings. Okay, I've run through all my little grab bags, but there's a few others I want to grab and show you. So let me go rummage through the space and see what I can find. I see one right here that I want to show you. We have this huge Tillandsia. This one is Tillandsia, no species, but it did originate in the Peruvian Amazon. Nice big plant. This can probably do direct sun. Make sure that you remember to water it. A lot of times Tillandsias can kind of blend into the furniture and you might forget that it's a living thing, but be sure to water it. The best way to water Tillandsias is either to spray the leaves with a spray bottle or dunk the whole plant in a bucket of water, let it sit for an hour and really soak up water. They do absorb water through their leaves. They will also appreciate just having some high humidity, but this is a really nice Tillandsia. Nice and big. Look at that. And if you like philodendrons and you don't have the rugosum yet, this is a great plant. It's from the cloud forest, so it can deal with pretty cold temperatures. Probably nothing near freezing, but lower in the 50s for sure. And the leaves have a wonderful feel. They have that rugose feel, that kind of cardboardy feel. Really wonderful plant. And the leaves can get much bigger, about that big. Generally kind of more of a circle than a heart shape. I'm going to find one more. Okay. This is kind of a usual suspect for us. It propagates really well for us. We often have it for sale. And why I like it, it's Dichorasandra pendula. Butchering that name, sorry. This one, it's in the dayflower family. It looks like ginger. It has that kind of aura of a ginger, But once it starts to bloom, it produces really nice blue flowers. And blue is kind of an unusual color, especially for houseplants outside of like African violets. So this one is great, bright but indirect light, and it'll grow taller, maybe 3-ish feet if it's happy, and wonderful blue flowers on kind of a long arching stem. Great plant for home. All right, so that's hopefully a nice kind of peek at the various things we have. I wanted to show off all the wonderful plants that we have produced by our volunteer propagators for the sales, and also some of the more random niche things that we have from the collection that are available for purchase this time around. And I was thinking we could spend the next 10, 20 minutes talking about how to take care of your houseplant. So, how does one take care of a houseplant? Let's see. Oh, perfect timing. So I have a guest here, and I wanted to maybe see if they wanted to buy a houseplant.
I'd love to buy a house.
Suzanne, come on into the frame.
Okay.
This is my volunteer, Suzanne.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Suzanne's going to pick out a plant and put me on the spot, and we're going to go over how to take care of it.
Okay.
Let's go look somewhere back here.
All right. Okay.
Do you want to go pick out a plant?
Sure.
Something that speaks to you that maybe you would want to take home.
Okay. Whether it's easy or not, I can just pick it out. You know, I'm good at killing
try
plants.
to stump me.
Okay. All right.
We're all good at killing plants. It takes a lot of practice and reading. But while Suzanne is picking out a plant, I wanted to kind of pull out our whiteboard and go lecture style for a moment. So if you're new to houseplants, anyone can grow a plant. It's been done for millennia. We grow plants to feed ourselves. Humans can grow plants, but it does take a few nuances. So instead of Googling specific needs of a specific plant, you can do that on your own. I thought I would give you kind of the framework on what I do when I get a new plant and I want to grow that plant. And really the first thing you need to do is know the name of the plant. In a best case scenario, you know the Latin name. If you don't know the Latin name, you know the common name. And that is a great starting point for your research. When you're doing that research, do it with a critical eye. Is what you're reading on the internet making sense? All plants, or most plants grown as houseplants, need to have drainage. So if you see something that says, oh, there's this houseplant hack, here's a pot with no drain, it's $150, don't spend that money. That plant needs a drain. So use your critical thinking when you're doing your research. The other big one, observing. Watch that plant, see what it looks like the day you bring it home, maybe even take a picture of it the day you bring it home, and then watch that plant over time. See how it's adjusting to the space. Does it look stressed? What does a stressed plant look like? You will learn that through observation. And this is really the key to plant care. Anything else is research and reading and talking to folks, but observing what your plant is doing and the variables that are impacting that, that's the key to all plant care. That's all it is. I'm going to flip this now. So when you're picking a plant, there's really 3 things that I look at. And this is super simplified. There's many more details. But this is what I look at. First one is light. What kind of light does the plant want? And what do I have at home to offer it? So light is a big one. Water. And this really is water / substrate or media. dirt, because how often you water and the type of substrate or media that the plant is growing in is hugely impactful on the plant's health. So think about the kind of light you have, how often you plan on watering. I know I only water once a week, max. I work during the week. I don't want to water plants at home during the week. So I water once a week. If I find a plant that's good for that, great. If not, that's kind of why I wouldn't get that plant. But the most impactful one is you. How much are you willing to baby the plant? How much are you willing to research the plant for its needs? How much are you willing to do all these things for the plant? And that really is the most impactful one, is you. So if you can find a sweet spot right there between those three things, that's kind of my rough and dirty houseplant care. I hope that's helpful. Okay, let's see what Suzanne picked out. She's got two.
I couldn't choose just one.
No one can. There's always room for one or two more plants. Okay, what do we got here?
Well, this is the coolest looking leaf. It's just really corrugated. I mean, that's what it says on the label.
And what was it about this one that appealed to you?
I like the look of it, but it says you have to keep it at 68 degrees. My house gets colder than that when I'm not around.
So this one, yeah, it does like humidity. It's a pilea, so in general, pilea are a little more resilient. So you could trial with this one and see.
Is it a tropical plant?
It's a tropical plant. It likes high humidity, this specific one. But this is a robust plant. Usually you can find these for really small. And this is a nice chunky plant.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, this is, I mean, look at those leaves. Not only does it have this awesome texture, but it has really nice feel.
Yeah, and the back of it too is cool looking.
Yeah, this is a great one. And being that it's already such a big plant, it might do just fine at 65 degrees.
Okay, that's as tall as it'll get?
Yeah, it's in this zone. It might get a little bit taller, but it's super easy. It can get leggy at that point where it's like reaching for light.
Okay.
So super easy. Just prune it at a node and take advantage of your prunings and put them in water and make new ones.
Okay.
You could make a ton of plants out of this one.
And does it go near the sun?
I would put this one in shade.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, good question. The shadier, the better on this one. Not complete darkness, because plants need light to make food. But yeah.
And can you put it outside if you get tired of it inside?
It's the Bay Area. You can try anything outside.
All right. Well, I don't mind killing a plant.
It probably won't do great outside, but for the summer, for sure.
Oh, on the deck, maybe?
On the deck, yeah.
Bring it in.
In the shady spot?
Yeah, bring it in the winter.
Yeah, this one, I might get this one for myself. The leaves are so great.
Aren't they? They do. They feel fabulous. Just amazing. And then
what else did you pick out?
I got this one because I kind of like a plant that's just green but a little taller. You know, it's something I don't have to put on a table, but I can put on maybe a low stand that would really give a kind of bushy look to the inside of the house. And this says it's cardamom and that the leaves smell good. And it looks to me like a kind of weed plant. So it probably would do well with me.
I like your observation. See, it's all about observation. So yeah, we talked briefly about cardamom, but all the things you said about it are reasons to get this plant because it does fill that exact niche that you're talking about. I can imagine this in the corner of a living room with some indirect light would be beautiful.
Wouldn't it be great? Yeah.
And it's quite big already. You know, it would be unusual, but if you take really good care of this, it might even bloom and make cardamom seeds, seed pods. Oh. They grow at the base of the plant, the blooms and the seed pods.
How odd. That's fabulous. Okay, so moist, does it have to be kept moist? What about the temperature concerns?
Cardamom it can go a little bit, it's totally fine in the house. Outdoors, probably not, but it'll do cooler temperatures. It's kind of a edging on cloud forest plant. It does like humidity, probably fine in the house. Water, it has a pretty hefty mix I'm seeing. So think of terrestrial plant. You'll want to water it and let it drain the water through the holes in the bottom of the pot.
Right.
And then give it some time before you water it again. Let it use the water in the pot. One thing I forgot to mention is if you have something in a lightweight pot, like a plastic pot, maybe not with this exact plant, but with a different plant, one of the best ways to know if it needs water, instead of just looking, is to pick the plant up, because that really tells you how much water weight is still
If
in
it's
there.
light,
Exactly.
it doesn't have much
Yeah.
water. Yes, that much I know.
So, yeah, these
So
are great plants, both good choices.
are most of these plants tropical plants?
Most houseplants tend to be tropical plants. There's no like taxonomic definition of a houseplant. It's just whatever we've grown inside that survives. And most of them tend to be tropical plants that can deal with low light, kind of intermittent watering, sometimes too much, sometimes too little. They're resilient plants. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a beautiful plant.
And it says it smells, but do you have to crush the leaves to get the smell?
I think you have to crush them. I don't want to crush someone's plant that they're going to buy.
Potential plant. Yeah. Here's
But
a dead leaf.
when you bring it home, you can crush the leaves yourself.
Take the dead leaf.
And I don't know if there's culinary
Oh, it
use for
does have a
these
smell.
leaves, does it? Oh, it totally does. Wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
All righty.
Okay.
We
thanks.
are kind of at the end of
All
the spiel this morning.
All right, so put this back.
Yeah, please. Thank you. So join us for the sale. Thank you for joining us for the Zoom. I hope it was helpful to get kind of a look at the different plants we have for sale. And thank you, Suzanne, for helping out.
And I just want to thank you all for joining us. As exhibited, we will have folks on hand who can answer questions for you. A deep dive into this broad variety of plants might feel overwhelming. That's why we're here to help. And I'm thrilled today that we had a horticulturist extraordinaire in Eric Hupperts who is willing to bring his expertise to our sale. So we look forward to seeing you. If you're a member, please come tonight, 5 to 6:30, and we'll get you your 10% off on your plants. Public, we're excited to see you starting Friday morning. We open at 10:30 and we run till 4:30. Don't hesitate to reach out with questions. Otherwise, we will see you at the pop-up plant sale. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.